Hey, welcome to the Huntsville Hustle podcast, where we share stories of grit, growth, greatness right here in the Huntsville area. And today, my guest is Lori King Taylor. She's the founder of Trinity Performance Solutions, and she's a powerhouse when it comes to leadership and team development and effective communication. But I think what separates her is she doesn't just help your business run better; she helps people lead better, which I think is an important distinction that she does. So, Lori, welcome to the show. I'm excited to get into this one.
Hey, Joe. So glad to be here. Thanks for reaching out.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I followed you from afar, as I want people to get to know more about you. I know you're pretty famous out there.
Oh, you're sweet. No, I would not say that, but thank you for those kind words.
If you take it back to the beginning, why did you start your business, and what was your background that kind of led you to that?
Okay, so my background is I have a master's degree in training and organizational development. So I have been doing this for a very long time. We won't say how many years, but I've been doing this my entire career. So I came out of a master's program and went right to work in training and organizational development. So it's something I've always done. I worked for General Motors for a long time doing training and development, became the international training director for iCar. And then I was on the road about 3 weeks a month with them. And during that time period, decided maybe I would check out being a mom. I thought that might be a cool thing to do. So a year of traveling and being on the road all the time and having a brand new baby, I kind of realized I chose to be a mom, that I couldn't do that for me. I couldn't do that and be on the road 3 weeks out of the month. So I decided to get off the road and go on my own.
There you go. I think it's harder to build someone else's dream. Why not build your own, right?
Right.
For your own house.
Yeah. Yeah. And I loved my jobs in corporate. They were fun. I really enjoyed them. And I'll tell you what, building a business from start, that's hard work.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead and give it a try. If you haven't tried it yet, we recommend it, right?
Yeah. Sure. Go try it. If you're a glutton for punishment, right?
Yeah. It is pretty awesome, but it's a lot of work. So you're big on leadership and communication. Why are those so critical for small businesses?
Well, because everything rises and falls on leadership. Truly. There was a SHRM research that was done not too long ago that in the top 3 reasons of why people leave businesses, one of the number one reasons was the leader. It had nothing to do with the business. They don't leave companies. They leave the leader. And so I think if you develop those leadership skills and really know how to work with your people, understand your people, communicate well with your people, you've got a leg up on the businesses around you.
I think so many of us are good at what we do. And we think we're good at everything else, right? We're good at marketing. We're good at leadership. We're good at not so much. You have to be taught these things just like anything else. So glad there's people out there that's doing it. What do you see as the most common leadership challenges in your practice?
I think it's knowing your people. Well, one, for small businesses, is working in the business and not on the business. So like you said, so many, especially small business owners, start their business because they're really good at their skill. And they're tired of working for the man. And they want to go out on their own, build their own business, make money for themselves. And so they're really good at that, but they don't have business skills. They don't have people skills. And so I think the biggest challenge that they have is stepping back out of the business sometimes, letting other people do things, and kind of from that 30,000-foot view, kind of look on the business and vision for it, move it forward. What does it need? And then really, truly getting to know your people and putting them in places where they can be successful.
It's so hard to turn your baby over, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Giving up control. I think that's a big part for a lot of us that, because like I said, we worked so hard to build this thing. Can I trust you with this?
Well, nobody can do it as well as we can, right?
Yeah. Well, they say that, but then I find out, hey, guess what? This person's much better at this, and this.
Exactly.
I just wouldn't let them get that opportunity. So
exactly.
A big thing in business is building teams and building culture and that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you approach small business, help them to build those teams and build that culture?
So I really think my approach is rooted in what I call intentional leadership. And so I help companies build those strong teams, lasting culture, by really focusing on emotional intelligence, clear communication with their people and their teams, and really building a shared sense of purpose. And I work with those leaders and helping them identify hidden dynamics within their teams. What's working? What's not working? Where trust or clarity might be lacking. And that's a huge issue, is with trust.
I think it all starts with that. If you don't trust your leader, especially, then things are not going to go well. So is there something that seems to work best in building culture as far as building teams?
Well, I think it starts with the trust issue is a leader being vulnerable with their people and allowing that to infiltrate the business and building a culture where people feel free to come to you. They feel free to challenge you. I'm a huge advocate of what I call productive conflict. I think conflict is good. Some people would be like, "Oh my gosh, no, I don't want any conflict in my business." Well, I don't think you grow without conflict. So I think building a culture where conflict is encouraged, which and all conflict is a differing of ideas, right? I don't want my team coming to me and saying everything that I say and every idea I have is fantastic. I want them to challenge me. I want them to say, "Hey, have you thought of?" Or "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard come out of your mouth."
And that's saying something. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I
So
need someone like in that because I have a ton of ideas. 90% of them are terrible. So I don't need a yes person. I need someone to say, hey, no, that's awful. We need
exactly.
to move on. So you need those
Exactly. And
people in
we've
your
got
life.
to give people permission to be able to disagree with us. And so I think building that trust allows for that productive conflict, which allows for that growth. I think having a culture where people feel safe to be able to do that is really critical.
I like that term though. Productive. It's
Yeah,
got to be productive, right?
productive. There is negative conflict. Conflict can be bad, but it's conflict in general is good. It's how you enter into it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Productive conflict. Yeah. I've been in some that are just straight conflict. And
sure.
it's not great. But if it's getting somewhere,
Yeah,
just like exercise, gotta tear those muscles down to build them back
right.
stronger.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you work with a lot of business on their systems and the tools. Is there something that you recommend for every business? I know it's kind of hard to pick and niche it down to one, but with a sort of tool or system you recommend?
I'm a huge advocate on assessments. And I think one of the biggest tools you can use is to getting to know yourself and getting to know your people. And I think using those tools will help you. Uh, I love using personality assessments within an organization because then I know you, Joe, right? I know what your strengths are. I know what you're bringing to the team. I know where you're weaker in. I know what my strengths are and what I'm bringing to the team. I'm a huge advocate of emotional intelligence assessments. Where am I lacking? What can I be working on constantly? I love 360 assessments. I think I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. I need my team to tell me that my head is in the clouds and oh, by the way, no, you're not. And you're really lacking. You have gaps in these areas. So I think using a tool like that really helps you stay connected with yourself and self-awareness of you as a leader and how effective you are as a leader, but also getting to know your people and where they are, where their skill sets are.
That's it. I know you're a strength finder. Is you a disc profile? What do you
Yes
go?
and yes.
Yes.
I love Strengths Finder. I think it's a fantastic tool. I'm a huge DISC fan. I use DISC on a regular basis. I used to use Myers-Briggs all the time. It's a fantastic tool. I just found in the workplace, DISC is easier because the important part about that is not just knowing you, it's about knowing the people around you that you work with. And so if I'm a deep you can understand what that means. But when you start putting together EFTJ, you're like, what is an E? What is an F? What is it? And then what does that mean when they all work together? It becomes very complicated. So I love DISC.
We don't need complications in our life. We got enough.
We
We
got
got enough.
enough problems.
Yeah, my wife is a big Dave Ramsey fan, so we got to go to Ramsey Financial Solutions one time, and on everybody's door leading into their office, it
Mhm.
has their profile on there and how to deal with them, how
Yep.
to approach them, that type
Yep.
of thing.
So I use those in my training and highly encourage my people. We fill them out in class and I highly encourage them. And I have a really good example. I was working with a client this was a long-term client I've been working with multiple years. And I was in their facilities and they had a bunch of cubes in this particular area, cubicles. And I was at the cubicle with another employee working with them. And I saw out of the corner of my eye, one of the folks, and I mean, he was hustling. I mean, you could tell what he was walking down the hall. He was hustling and he walked right into somebody's cube and stopped and took 3 steps out, read their disc profile, stood there for a second, and then walked back in. And I was like, yes, we're getting somewhere because his personality style was quite different from hers. And he was going in there like, with a sledgehammer, and that's not going to work with her. And so it's fun. So, yeah, I love to see those things on the outside of people's offices.
Well, that's cool. He slowed down and hey, pattern interrupt. Let me go check this out. Good
Yeah.
on him. I
Yeah.
know for those type of people that, hey, that's tough sometimes to slow
Yeah.
down and take the time, but pays off.
Oh, for certain personalities, 100%, and I'm one of them.
Yeah.
So I know it when I see it.
I mean, you help business owners, but you're also a business owner yourself. So what was a mistake you made back in the day? I'm sure it's been a little while that kind of became a powerful lesson for your business.
Well, I have made so many mistakes. It's hard to pick just one. And early in my career, I think my biggest mistake was self-awareness, not really being aware of the effect I had on other people, my personality style. And I could be a bull in a china shop. I'm sure you find that very hard to believe, Joe, but I could just kind of go in. But as a business owner, I think the biggest mistake I ever made was trying to do everything myself. I wore every hat: marketing, administration, delivery, invoicing, you name it, I wore the hat. And I thought, kind of what we talked about before, that nobody's going to do it better than I am. It's my business. Nobody's going to love this business better than I love this business. So I just have to do it all. But what I learned is growth does not happen when you're stretched too thin. It happens when you delegate to other people, when you trust others, when you stay focused on your zone of genius and let other people focus on their zone of genius. So, but letting go was hard, but it has been the reason I think I have built something that lasts, and I can do what I do and have a team that can hold me up.
There you go. I think almost every small business makes the same mistake. I think like we mentioned before, no one can do it like me. There probably is some people who can
Well,
probably do
and
some.
I think the other thing that comes with that too is, money's tight when you're first starting out, right? And it's like, I can't pay this person to do that. But we have to spend money to make money. And sometimes you have to let go of things in order to make money. So a business owner has to know where their lane of genius is and where it's not, and let somebody, hire somebody, bite the bullet, pay somebody to do that so you can focus on what you do best. And in doing that, you'll grow your business.
There you go. So if you're just starting out, hey, save yourself time, money, energy,
Heartache,
heartache for sure. Get some help. It's okay.
sleepless nights.
Yeah, it'll pay off in the end. So how do you keep yourself sharp and inspired as a leader and as a coach?
A lot of reading, a lot of research, a lot of studying. I'm working on my PhD right now. So I am diving into the things that I teach every day and really trying to fill the cup. I don't think I know it all. I know I don't know it all. I know I'll never know it all. And I know things change every day. So what I taught even 5 years ago is not applicable today. And then I professional development. I'm a member of the National Speakers Association. I'm regularly in professional development. I go to the conference every year. We have regular videos that come out that help us. And I'm a member of a mastermind group, which is huge for me because it's with other speakers. And we can talk about what's going on in our business, what they're doing, and helping with problem solving. So I'm always trying to make myself better and learn more.
Across the board. I mean, you can just tell that you're passionate about education and continued education as well. If you're going to be a coach, you got to stay on top of the latest things.
100%.
And if you're going to ask your clients to do stuff like that, better be doing it yourself, right?
100%. 100%. Yeah. If I want you to hire me to come in to do professional development, or I want you to hire me as your executive coach, and I'm not doing that for myself, I have a coach, so we gotta practice what we preach.
Coaches need coaches. Hey, just like the rest of them.
100%.
Olympic athletes have coaches. The best athletes in the world, they got coaches. You should too.
100%.
If you're listening right now, whatever you're doing, you need a coach. I'm just saying.
Get a coach right now.
Get a coach. Yeah. Hey, I'm talking to one right now if you need one. I'll give you but so if someone maybe they are feeling stuck in their business because they don't have a coach, FYI, what would be your first step? If I'm feeling stuck in my business, what would you recommend?
I think the thing that I would recommend first is really get clear on your why. Why did you start this business in the first place? Why are you in the field that you're in? Where did that energy and that passion come from? And I tell, young people who are having struggles in their marriages as well, why did you go back and figure out why you fell in love with this person to start with? So I think that's true for businesses as well. Why did you start this business? Why did you fall in love with this field? Then I think it would be really important for them to take a step back, look at what's draining their energy versus what's driving their results. And usually it just takes a few small shifts in focus and mindset or structure that can really reignite momentum. And then don't go it alone. Get a coach.
Get a coach. That's the number one thing you're gonna take away from today. Get you a coach. But
Get a
I
coach.
think, I think we do forget our why, because we get caught up in the weeds and the day to day and all these
100%.
things, and you forget who you were when you first started. Go back to those times. That's so helpful that we need to do all the time. And then you know what you do? You get a coach.
Yeah.
We all have people help us become successful on our journeys as entrepreneurs. Who is someone that you'd like to thank for helping you become successful?
100% my husband. 100%. He has been my biggest supporter, my biggest cheerleader from the get-go. When we married, I was a national training manager and traveling all over the country. I wasn't home that often, and he supported that. He was like, "Go. I don't need you to stay home and do my laundry, or, go do what you do." And when I decided to go out on my own, he was like, 100%, you got this. Let's make it happen. Initially I was making a really nice salary. We took a huge salary cut when I left corporate life to start on my own. And he was there. He goes, "I gotcha." So when I started my PhD, you got it. Let's do it. Go for it. So he's always been there. Now, of course, I've also blamed him when I'm crawling into bed at 2:00 in the morning because I'm on my 5th statistics class. And I say, "Whose big idea was this?" He said, "It was your idea." And I said, "Yeah, but you supported it, so you get the blame."
Yeah, that's it. Spousal support is so
Oh,
important as a business owner. My wife, I wouldn't be here without my wife, that's for sure. Let me put it this way. Would you want your husband hanging out with women all day? Probably not. Work exercising with women all day. That's probably not the best marriage tool right there, but 100% trust, 100% support, just like you
yeah.
guys. So,
Yeah.
man, you need that. If
Yeah.
she was like the jealous type or wouldn't support me, I don't think I would have made it.
No, I couldn't either. I grew up in the automotive industry. My business career has all been automotive. I was with General Motors for a really long time, with iCar, which is an international automotive company. I spent my career with men, and I traveled with men. I was in hotels with men all the time. And he's like, "You got it."
Yeah. If you got that trust, you got the trust, right? All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So, now this is probably a tough question because there's so many cool people around there. But if you could think about one leader or maybe a small business you've been especially inspired by over the year, who would that be?
Wow. Locally, or
It could be anywhere. It could be local. It could be local, or it could be just someone that really inspired you.
I have so many people that have really, really inspired me over the years, and I keep coming back to local. I love my community. And so I love looking. And there are two people that really come out, and I probably will slaughter their names. One is Ray Almodovar. He's built something great, but he also gives back to his community. So he didn't just build something great for his wealth. Granted, he's a wealthy man. He just didn't do it for him, but he shares it with his community. He's got a humongous heart. So I think he's great. And then I know my dear friend, she's going to kill me because I never say her last name because I cannot pronounce her last name, but Alka Bagav. So she's with the Foundation. I adore her. I look up to her because she spends her life helping those less fortunate really get on their feet and be able to be strong women who can look out for themselves, provide for themselves, being huge members of society, great members of society. And I love that she spends all her energy and time supporting others. And that's important to me. So both you have a business giant, but who gives back. And then you have somebody that spends all their time helping others. And those are qualities that are really important to me.
Alka is amazing. We had her on a previous episode, and she is just doing so much for others. It's amazing. The AUM Foundation, AUM Foundation, if you haven't heard of it, look it up. Make sure you go to Bollywood Night this year if you have never been. It's the most fun you'll ever have out
It
there.
is a lot of fun. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. I think if you'll find out what they're doing at the AUM Foundation, you'll want to take part in it. So look that
100%.
up.
Mm-hmm.
And Alka's as good as it gets. I don't know Ray, but I've heard nothing but good things about him.
Yeah. He's pretty awesome too.
Yeah. And I'm glad I didn't have to pronounce either one of those names. So thank you.
I would choose two people with the biggest. John Smith. He is my hero.
I'm a lot of people's heroes. Joe Martin.
Joe Martin. There you go. Joe, you are my hero.
There you go. I knew it.
You are. You do know when we met for the first time, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Where was the first time?
It was what's the name of that place? I'm gonna have to edit this out if I can't pull that out of my head.
Okay, you're thinking of something different than I'm thinking already.
Okay, what are you thinking about?
TED Talk.
Was that the first time we met?
I think it's the first time I really got to know you. We might have met
Okay,
before then, but we did our
right,
TED
yeah,
Talks the same
yeah,
time.
I do. I remember that. I thought we met before that. I was trying to pull that one
Okay,
out, but yeah,
your memory's
yeah,
better than
that
mine.
was an amazing experience. The most nerve wracking I've ever been on a little red circle.
I know, right? I know, but fun. Yeah.
It was
For
fun.
somebody who speaks all the time, I got on the red circle and I was like, oh, I hope I remember everything I'm supposed to say.
Me too. Oh, they gave me 4 minutes, by the way, which is
Boy, they
more
don't give you
pressure
very
for me
long.
than an hour. So you got to tell your life story in 4 minutes.
Yeah, I think I had 18,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
oh,
Well, here's what had happened. If you want some behind the scenes TED Talk stuff, they had a fitness guy come on one time and he blew it. So he caused future fitness
fitness.
pro generations.
4 minutes, Joe.
Like, here, we'll give you 4 minutes. We'll throw 4 minutes your way. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it kind of makes you trim a lot of the fat from your talk, though. So that
Yeah,
was
it does.
a
Yeah,
lot
it
of
does.
pressure. But,
You did
but
a
yeah,
great job.
well, thank you. You did as well.
Thank you.
That was a good night for sure.
It was a fun night.
It was an honor. But so you got a new book out. So this will be your
Do.
third book. I mean, it wasn't enough that you're, getting your PhD. You're also going to be writing a book on the side. So first, what's the new book called, and what's it about, and who is it for?
Okay, so it's the book's called Elevate Your EQ: 52 Powerful Strategies to Increase Your Emotional Intelligence. And I wrote it in the 52 will kind of give you a little bit of a hint, but it's not a book that you sit down and read like a novel. It really is strategies that you can put into place to increase your emotional intelligence. It's one thing to go to class, learn about emotional intelligence. We do assessments, what your emotional intelligence is. But when you leave class, what are you doing? And so I wanted to give them something that they could really implement all year long. And so the book has a strategy, something you would do to increase your emotional intelligence. And the purpose of it is spend a week. I really think you should spend more, but spend a week to really focus in on that particular strategy. And then next week, we'll move to another one. So it was really to kind of help my clients to continually be working on your emotional intelligence, because emotional intelligence is that one thing you can improve. You're kind of stuck with the personality you were born with. There's some management that you can do with your personality. You're stuck with your IQ. You can increase your knowledge, but you can't increase your ability to learn. EQ, you've got 100% control of if you practice it, and it's a lifelong skill.
I think that's really going to separate people, especially as we get more artificial intelligence in here. I think the EQ is going to become more and more important. I think I've heard you're doing a little work in that area, so people
Yeah.
can stay tuned for that.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm doing a whole thing on AI and EQ and where the two intersect, so that'll be fun. I'm having a lot of fun doing my research.
I bet we've got some interesting times ahead of us. I
Yeah,
can't
we
wait to see
do.
what happens.
Yes, we do.
So it's kind of switching up a little bit. When you think about the impact you want to make, you mentioned earlier how much you respect other people, what they're doing for the communities. What would you want your legacy to be when you kind of leave through your work?
I think I want my legacy to be that of service. When people think back to my life and what I did, I hope that they could see that I used my skills and I used my talents to serve other people, both in the classroom and outside the classroom. I really view what I do and the teaching that I do as something that can help change lives. And I hear that from people. I was teaching a class yesterday, and one of the comments that came in on the evaluation was, "This will change my life." And if I can change lives for the better, to help people get along better, to help people step outside themselves and see people around them and take notice of people around them and make efforts to change their focus and their behavior and their mindsets to make our businesses and our communities and our worlds a better place, that's all I can ask for.
Wow. I mean, I think we need that now more than ever.
Yeah.
With
Oh,
all the
100%.
craziness going on in the world, man. Yeah,
100%. And
definitely.
I'm doing a small business initiative right now in Costa Rica. So I'm taking 10% of everything we make goes into this initiative in Costa Rica to help build small business owners in Costa Rica that can provide for themselves. I originally did a lot of work down there and found out there's so many orphans. There's more orphans there than you would even care to believe. People can't afford their children. So if we can make business owners of these individuals where they can provide for their families and keep their children. So I think that would be a huge part of my legacy as well.
Yeah, for sure. If you're helping people create business where they can actually support their families, I mean, that's amazing right there. So you're extremely well read, obviously. So this is going to be a tough question, but is there one book every leader should read that you recommend?
No. Yes. Okay. So
You're supposed to say your book, by the way.
Oh, my book. Exactly. Yeah. Yes, of course, my book. No. Okay. So can I give you more than one?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So the number one, it's the Bible. As far as I'm concerned, every leadership lesson you ever want to know is in there. And I'm working on a program right now where I'm digging through that to come up with pairing the leadership with what was taught in the Bible. And I'm really excited about that. So I think that, to me, that's the number one book. If you're talking business books, of course, that could be, in my mind, considered a business book. But if you're talking business books, I think Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek, because it's really about creating a culture where people feel safe, valued, inspired, which is really the heart of leadership. Dare to Lead by Brene Brown, because she talks about vulnerability, courage, clarity, and those, in my mind, are real leadership superpowers. And then The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. It is simple, it's powerful, and so relatable. But I think my biggest, honestly, would be the greatest leadership book is the one you apply. So I think so often we read books and we're all about reading books, but the doing part of that is what's transformational. So pick up a great leadership book, but then apply it. Just reading's not going to do it.
That's the best advice right there, because so many of us, how many times have you gone on Amazon like, I need to get this book. And then you get the book. That's step one. And then usually you don't even read it, right? I think there's some crazy stat about how many people buy books and don't read them. But then maybe you actually read it, but then you don't apply anything.
Yep.
You might as well not even read it, right? You don't want to go, oh, that was nice.
Yep.
And so, yeah, you're right. I tell people, the best workout you'll do,
the one you do,
the best workout in the morning you'll do is what do you actually do? You can have the greatest one in the world, but if you're not going to do it, it doesn't matter. So,
no, I'm that person that truly believes you got a book in one hand and a pen or a pencil in the other hand, and you are annotating all through. If you're doing not a novel, but if you're doing a leadership book, you are annotating. You are making notes and underlining, not just underlining and highlighting. I mean, you are in the margins making notes of where this would apply and what research you want to do about it. And then when you're done, you need to take all those notes and then put an action plan together for what you're going to put into place in your business to make the transformation that you just read about, instead of putting it down and picking up the next leadership book that came off the presses today.
There you go. Just to say you've read all the latest leadership books, right? We don't want that. So I was about to ask you about giving some advice, but I think you just nailed that one right there. If we can just start doing that, read a book like you had to teach it to somebody else. I think you teach that approach. Like I'm going to teach this to my clients, so I'm going to actually read this and take notes. And I think if you go at that approach, I think you're going to learn things much better and be able to apply them, because it's all about action, right? I'm sure that's what you coach in your business. It doesn't matter what's in your head. You get paid for done.
Yeah. So I love that. You get paid for done.
Yeah. Because you know what? I have a coach. That's what he says, right? That's my coach. So if you could go back to your younger self and mentor yourself and say, well, what would you say to yourself when you're first starting out?
Get a mentor. I definitely would. Coming out, I was one of those. I finished my master's degree at 21. So I came out in a management position at 22 years old, only female, youngest person. I was a train wreck. And I was disappointed years later, looking back, that no one reached out to mentor me. They might have been afraid of me. They were all middle-aged men, and I was a 22-year-old, girl who thinks she knew it all. So I'd get a mentor. 100%. One that would be honest with me. Get a coach,
You gotta get a coach, but it'll get you light years ahead. You'll save yourself so much time.
I could save myself so much grief over the years of things that I look back on in my younger self and go, oh my gosh, shut up, keep your mouth shut,
Yeah, I think when we all graduate college, we know everything. And then the older you get, the less you know. So you gotta keep learning. So,
yep.
Oh, this is fantastic. I knew it was going to be great. I had a great time. I learned a lot. I'm over here taking notes myself. But if people are like, hey, I kind of vibe with what you're saying right there. How do people contact you? How do they work with you? How do they get your book? How do they do all that good stuff?
Okay, all that fun stuff. Well, the biggest place is go to my website, TrinityPerformanceSolutions.com. I have blogs on there. I'm all the time giving out information on how to be better. You know, what I teach, I give away for free on my website a lot. So you can get great information there. You can find my book there. You can also find my book on Amazon, which is where everybody shops for books these days, right? So I also have Facebook, Trinity Performance Solutions Facebook. Find me, Lori King Taylor, on LinkedIn, and L King Taylor on Instagram.
There you go. Make sure you go to the website. Just delve into all the information they have on there. I've been trying to use Delve this whole time. Delve into that information. Check it out on there. Get a copy of the book. Get on there, and then also the next thing you do, you get a coach. Maybe it's Lori. Maybe it's not. But
Maybe
you
it's
need to get a
not.
coach. That's the number one lesson from today, right here. If you learn nothing else, Lori, thank you so much for coming on here, sharing some of your journey with us, and a lot of little business nuggets as well.
Joe, thanks so much. This was fun. I enjoyed it.
This was fun. It was good. It's good to be without the red circle and be hanging out with you again. So thanks so much for your time. And if you're tuning in right now, appreciate you being here. And thanks for being on the show with us. And if you can share this with somebody, someone needs to hear what Lori does and how she can help them and what she's doing out there in the world. They can help her. She's a coach, and that's what we're looking to hire out there. So share that with the episode. We'll see you guys next week on the Huntsville Hustle podcast.